Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Jill here. I'm excited to participate in the February A Cherry on Top YouTube Hop because the theme is hobbies. And as you know, last month I did a page about my boyfriend Tim's hobby of collecting fossils, and that was so much fun. And so today I'm happy to jump back in and do a page about one of my own hobbies. There are many, but I'm going to focus on my hobby of collecting fountain pens. And as usual, I'm going to work in my traveler's notebook. I am starting a new one for 2026, and this is the first page in this book. I'm also keeping just a scrapbook journal that's much more casual, with just throwing photos in and writing a little bit. But I want this notebook, this insert, to be for just a little bit longer stories and things that are more focused on one subject. So that's what I'm going to launch here, and it's similar to what I did last year when I filled up an insert, which makes me very happy, by the way. Okay, so I took pictures of a few of my fountain pens from my collection, and I most recently got the Yoseka Platinum Collaboration. This pen right here, really pretty. It's a very subtle, translucent green, and it's in celebration of Yoseka's Greenpoint store. So they included these little Instax photos that I think are so great, and I want to put them in my notebook. How appropriate, right? Right along with pictures of the pen. I also absolutely love Sailor Pro Gear Slims, and so I've got just a selection of some of my recent and favorite pens in that part of my collection. And I do want to do some journaling, so I'm going to make this photo a flip up, and I have matted the photos on paper from Fancy Pants, and this is like, I think it's called something like Fairy Queen, from a few months ago. So some of you might have that in your collection. So I'm just going to jump in. I'm not going to put things down completely yet because I want to do some stamping on the background. You can see I just pulled out a whole bunch of stamps, even though a lot of that won't show, but I just want it there kind of for texture and to cover up the white or cream, actually, of the background. So let me put that aside, and let's do a little bit of adhering. This is not, as I said, going to go down on the page because it's going to flip up. Yeah, see, this Fairy Queen paper is so cool. I kind of hate to cover it up, but I do really like the color and how it works with this photo. And then I just took some lavender grid paper because there's kind of a lavender feel to this Fancy Pants lines. As you can see on the B side, it's not as apparent on the side that I was cutting from. So that's about the right size. I do this wonky cutting, and then I try to do it, I try to get it to be a flip up. So I need to have a little bit of straight edge there to do that. But that's okay, we'll make it work. I pulled out, let's see, just some neutral washi tape to use for making that flip up. So that'll be one side. The other side will also be on this Fairy Fancy Pants paper. And I'll mat my other photo. And I like this kind of false washi tape there. I want to include that. I like the little flourishes because it's kind of a retro feel. I like the kind of bleeding of the edge, going a little bit off the edge in my notebook. So this will flip up. This will be adhered to the page. This will go up here, and this will go down here and probably be a little bit overlapped, like about like that. So the stamping will be like, will show like around here and up here and a little bit from behind there, a little bit down there potentially. So we can keep these kind of in place. I guess I'll also say I use the Tim Holtz stamps with the little sentiments, and I do want to scatter those around the page. I think give yourself permission is really great if you collect fountain pens. Sometimes you have to not give yourself permission, but But sometimes, yeah, you just say go for it, and then you're really happy. You have no regrets. And I use my fountain pens all the time. I wish I could use them all simultaneously. There we go. So what I did was I just stamped it on some more of that lavender grid paper, and then I did a little stitching. This one I stitched around just to add some interest. The You Do You, I might put that down there and kind of have it be a little bit like just partly attached. I did take out my tiny attacher, so we might do that later. I know this one, because it's going to be a flip up, I guess that is neither here nor there, but I do want to staple it. Along with my pens, I have this little sea otter Japanese desk ornament that I just went ahead, since it was right there on the desk, and included in the photos. There, I kind of like the texture of things that flip up a bit. So there we have it. Now let me talk a little bit about, trying to think, I really like this new postmarked adventures from Art and Creative. And I could do the details, remember this, underneath here. And I might do that and then surround everything in a lighter colored ink. But I might actually do this last. So I'm going to pull this one off and plan to do it in, I pulled out different, mostly light colors, but I also pulled out some, what I used here, which is Juniper Mist ink I love, since it's got my puppy's name in the name. Oh, and also some postage stamps from the Tim Holtz postage stamp sticker book. I think those could be fun as an embellishment, but we'll keep that in mind as we go through these stages. As I said, I'll keep this one off to the side and do some light and maybe even stamping. Grab a piece of scrap paper here, off to the side. So I'm going to start with some larger stamps. These two are from the Tim Holtz collection that I haven't used, that I got last summer. It's a travel, it's the travel, what's it called? Travel labels. And even though fountain pens are not about traveling, they're very much about pens made in different parts of the world. And that's part of what's fun and really cool about it. And so these seem appropriate to me, and they're also kind of vintage looking, and that gives me the fountain pen vibe too. So as I said, I know things are going to show up here. I'm stamping a little bit off the edge. And I'm going to stamp this a few times. I think it's okay to kind of go down here like this. And it can be very imperfect because it will be covered up. And you see, it's just going to be like for texture. We might even stamp over the stamping. But I do kind of, because I know that gutter is going to show, I do kind of want to get in there a bit. Yeah. I know this is probably like the opposite of what you think of when you think of like good stamping. Yeah, I kind of like that little Paris showing there. Okay, so let's switch colors. I'm going to use this rose petals. What I was using before is Stone Blue from Catherine Pooler, which is light but not super light. This rose petals is darker, so I'm going to start by stamping off and then stamping. Perfect. See, that's a great way of just getting a lighter image, which is really what I wanted, because this is a pretty ink and it matches pretty well because it's like a lavender pink. But when I stamp it straight on, it's pretty dark. Move these off to the side. And I like to work in threes, so we'll do a third one. Maybe, as I said, there's going to be a little bit showing down here at the bottom. There. Okay. So I'm working from the largest to smaller stamped images. This is from a Dina Wakley set. This one called Squared Up. So it's just one of the littler squares. even smaller are these little tidbits. What are these called? The curator set. So let's see, I have one other color here. I think crushed violet is a little bit too dark. I was thinking, yes, 16 candles is light, a light lavender. See what we think in the scrap paper. See what it's like after I've stamped off. Even better after I've stamped off. So even the lighter color, I kind of am going for something that's pretty light because it is a background. I'm going to go back in here, oops, go back in and fill in where I feel like there is some space. In fact, I might do just a little bit more right there. This is the very beginning of an insert, so it's kind of hard to stamp. And you can see how bright it is when I do it directly, but that's okay. I wanted a little bit down there. Okay, I think that's good. We're going to use maybe some of the snippets. Let's just do that before, because I was going to say we can do it as a final touch, but we can always go back in. I call them snippets. It's the curator set. Let's go back to the stone blue. So this is very free form, just to get some texture, to get the background covered up, make it a little bit funky. Okay, and I think for the sake of contrast, since these are so small, we might take one, that's a cool looking one, and do the full-on rose petals without stamping off. See how that looks? Yeah, that's kind of nice because it's the same tone, but darker. And it gives a little contrast and interest. Let's kind of go down here. Like that. And one more like this. Okay, I could do this all day, but I'm going to stop. And I'm going to try to get the covers on the right ones. Can always check that later. Okay, so that's the background. And on this paper, I think the ink is going to be drying pretty quickly. So I'm not going to worry about that. There's one other stamp set that I really like that I wanted to use. And mainly I was going to use the texture-y stamps, though actually I might at the end go back in and use a little bit of the sentiments if I feel like I need more, because they would be cool on this too. Since this is really tiny, why don't we try a darker ink? Let's try this crushed violet. Yeah, that's good because it's yet another color, but one that's coordinating with the colors we've been using. And as you can see, it's just pretty much pure texture. I love it. I love stamps like that. They're really easy to use, and they kind of can help you integrate a page. Okay, good enough. I think I'm happy. And so let's just pull together what we've got here. And we'll start with this biggest one. Yeah, cool. See how that edge looks? I think that edge looks really good, and it was just like created pretty much just randomly. Now to find my tape. And I think this stamping idea like works well with the kind of paper I use to mat. And it's fun. And I want both of these Instax photos to be kind of so cool that these were included. Oh, I love it. And I'm really glad to have them somewhere, you know, not just like sitting around. Very cool. Looking good. Okay, now this one's going to flip up. I'm remembering that. And it can overlap here. So let's, again, adhere this. And let's see, do we want this in here? The details. I think so, because I think it'll kind of like this, oops, I have this left to put someplace. This could actually be pretty cool up here since it's, anyway, we'll think about that later. Let's do one thing at a time. Where's my stamp block? I'm always losing things as I do it. Here we go. This is one of these stamps that has lines, so I like to put it down and then put the block on it. And actually, this is not like an ideal block, but I've got, if I use this Juniper Mist, it's a very wet ink, so I think it's going to be okay. If not, I can always go over it, put a card under there or something. There we go, crooked but clear. And it'll look fine once I use the fountain pen along here. In fact, I think it'll kind of go with the funky look of the page, and it gives me some room for the tape for the flip up. I'm not sure about the back of this. I think I want something else on the back. So I'm not going to actually put the washi tape on camera. Gotta think about that, yeah, because it just brings in all these colors that aren't really what I'm going for. So I'm gonna think about that off camera, and I'm gonna do my journaling, and I'm gonna overlap this a bit like that. And knowing me, I'll have to add a few sequins for a little bit of texture. That's different. But anyway, there we go. I hope this gives you some ideas for your own hobbies and ways to create kind of funky imagery and to do you. In whatever way makes sense. Yeah, I'm still having fun with the placement of that. Not quite sure where I want it. Maybe off to this side. Nah, I don't think I want to cover that up. Maybe in the place here that's a little bit blank. Yeah, that could be cool. Okay, well, I hope you had fun with this. I definitely did, and it's really great to have launched my new insert for 2026. Be sure to hop along to the other videos in the series to get ideas about how to document your hobbies, and have a great February.